You don't need emotion, belief, or even perfect focus on your affirmations. Your subconscious mind is always listening, especially in those moments where you feel like nothing's actually happening. So if you use this and the manifestation methods correctly, then you can really start shifting things around and using that to your highest good. I'm going to give you guys an automatic rewriting method for when you want to take back control, so make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. A little bit more dressed up than usual. Today is Wicked Day, so by the time you're seeing this, I will have gone to see Wicked for Good in the theatres, in cinemas, if anyone is interested. So yeah, I'm all Glinda today, so that's going to be on my vlog channel. But staying on topic for today, please don't click off after that comment. We are talking about your subconscious mind, the power of it, how it actually works, and why even when you feel like maybe the shifts aren't happening, there's actually positive changes going on internally. So make sure to stay tuned to hear all of that. On screen and in the description box will be all the information you guys need if you want extra coaching, extra support, bonus materials that I don't post here just for members. Click the join button below or check out my coaching offers currently available. And now let's start the video. What your subconscious mind does is record and kind of take into memory and storing every repeated thought, every repeated notion, idea, basically statement or daydream that you may have. If you apply repetition to it, it starts to, take that on and really take that in significantly because you've applied repetition to it. So it's not every single one of your 70,000 thoughts a day, it's the repetition, and it kind of stores that as a fact in your mind. So even the ones that you don't mean, that's why a mental diet is such a powerful practice in manifesting and just changing your mindset in general, because you probably have a pattern. There's a reason that automated negative thought came up. It's tied to something in your subconscious. So with a mental diet, it's a really powerful way, which this video is not about that, by the way, but I just wanted to add that in. That is a really great way to counteract those negative thoughts. So your subconscious mind takes in even the thoughts that you don't really mean, that you don't really want. If you keep saying them over and over, it does in some way hold truth in your reality. But remember that your subconscious doesn't judge. It doesn't judge you or what you say. It's objective. There's no subjectivity in your subconscious mind. It doesn't analyze. It doesn't question things. There's no doubt in your subconscious. That's why we create negative beliefs. It's not going to protect you in that sense. It's just going to accept what you tell it is a fact. So it's basically not quite, but like you could analogize it as a machine where you're just inserting information and data, like a software program basically, and it's just absorbing what you're saying, even if it makes no sense. If you say 1 + 3 is 27, it's going to say, okay, 1 + 3 is 27. That's the data stored, right? So that's a good way to analogize it, where even if something you don't want is a subconscious belief, or you think manifesting doesn't work, manifesting is too difficult, I'm not worthy of SP, these kind of thoughts, it's not objective fact, and there might actually be nothing to support that. It might just be a fear that you have that built into that belief, but your subconscious is going to accept it. So it's important to understand as you go through the manifesting process how the subconscious works, so that then you can see, okay, this is where the negative patterns stemmed from. This is why maybe this is happening, or why I'm struggling so much mentally. You can kind of understand where those patterns form. Also remember that your subconscious mind responds best to consistency. As I said, for that, those statements to be accepted as fact, it needs the repetition. It's not that with any information or learning a new habit, you just say or think something once. Obviously it doesn't work that way. And I think it's great that that our minds were not built that way. So basically, your subconscious mind needs consistency. It's not about the intensity or the emotion behind it. So no matter how much you want or desire or feel your affirmation, if you're not applying repetition, any positive statement or focus that you're putting in, if you're not doing it consistently, it doesn't matter how much you focus on it. So you could even close your eyes and for just one time say, I'm married to SP, and say it really powerfully and really feel it. That's not going to suddenly shift your entire reality. I know some coaches and people might disagree and say, speak it into existence once and it's done. Usually it doesn't work that way. If you have a smaller goal that you're working towards, yes, of course it can work. But generally speaking, a rule I want to remind you guys of, because I noticed a lot of people are manifesting in SP, those who watch my videos, it does need that consistency. And yes, even any robotic, affirming, mindless, kind of very neutral statements, again, you don't need that emotion, you don't need the intensity behind it. It does get accepted by your subconscious mind. So it's not about the emotion, it's not about, what your desire or intention is. The subconscious just learns through that, data point, through just pure data. Whatever you say, whatever you focus on with repetition is what it starts to accept. The simplest way to take control over your subconscious mind and really shift around the negative beliefs. And I have videos that talk about how to identify it. My coaching can help to identify it. I have a lot of other, free content and other resources for that. But today I'm just talking specifically about how to manifest powerfully by understanding the subconscious mind. So short affirmations work best. It's easiest to apply repetition to that, of course. It doesn't need to be long-winded. It's just straight to the point, the fact. Like I said, focus on it as just pure data. What is the end result that you want? That's what your affirmation should be. I like to keep things quite simple. Obviously, you can affirm in any way. It's not that, you have a 20-word affirmation, it's not going to manifest. That's not how it works. That would be silly. But my recommendation, of course, in the most powerful way, short, concise, repetitive affirmations. Because your subconscious mind is going to benefit most from that clarity, not from, long-winded sentences, being poetic with it. Yes, that's enjoyable and you can use that for scripting, for example, but it's just going to get really tiring, monotonous, and draining if you have to do that with repetition as an actual affirmation. Then what actually happens is it starts to become your default identity, your default focus, the focal point, and being accepted as a fact, as a belief in your subconscious mind. So again, it's not objective, it's what you believe, how you see it, what you perceive in your reality, and that being reflected externally. Obviously, everyone's going to maybe see things a bit differently. And if it's about a specific person or a very personal goal that you're working on, it's not about it being objective, but the point is your mind will accept that. And that repetition is building it up. It's adding the building blocks to turn it into your identity, your self-concept, what you believe about your life, your reality, and just the default, setting that your mind will go to. And some of the most powerful times to implement this and to try and get into a habit of even robotic affirming when, you're just doing really monotonous things. This is what I tell my clients a lot as well. Repetitive daily tasks where you are able to put your focus on affirmations. Obviously nothing where you need to concentrate, but just something really simple like waking up, going to sleep, times where you would just be, not focusing on anything, not really doing anything, nothing important. A time where it'd be safe or easy for you to loop those affirmations and you're kind of like zoning out. So those are times where the subconscious is wide open to affirmations, to any new information and beliefs that you might insert into your mind, because the conscious mind isn't focused. The conscious mind has its barriers lowered, so to speak. So any information you put in can be more easily absorbed by the subconscious mind. I believe even in those times, your mind is in possibly theta state. So it's not fully alert, fully conscious. That's a great time also to get into a habit of inner conversations. Whether you need to do a mental diet, usually this is done at times where your emotions are heightened, you're feeling anxious, something triggered you. That's obviously when you're likely to get those negative reactions. But the times where you're like just really chilled and relaxed, try and do a quick visual, an inner conversation, looping your affirmations. It's really powerful. So then what happens is the 3D reality doesn't trigger you as much. It's not as resistant, your reactions are not as intense. It's really going to start to accept so your conscious and subconscious mind are both really going to start to accept that, the 3D doesn't faze me, it doesn't trigger me. You're not going to analyze it. It's not going to be the center of everything to you. And your emotional reactivity will definitely balance out a lot as well. So what might have previously triggered you, or the old story, or anything that reminds you of it, you'll probably start to come to more positive assumptions, because you will have basically trained your subconscious mind to accept and move beyond that and no longer automatically react in a really negative, reactive way. Everything kind of balances out, and the old story that may have triggered you or been really prevalent and you felt like it was holding you back, no longer going to be the case. And of course, the part that everyone wants to see, even if it's a personal or intangible or kind of visually invisible change that you're manifesting in your life, maybe it's something within yourself, or like kind of very subtle changes about your appearance, whatever it may be, it's actually your external reality is going to reflect that. So whether it's people mirroring back to you that self-concept shift or physical movement in your external reality, the results of that physically starting to show up, it's going to start mirroring back to you because it's what your subconscious has accepted. And observation and focus has to create the physical outcome. And that as well includes people. So if you are manifesting a specific person, it could be that, your SP directly is going to start acting and reflecting the new story, the new narrative and internal identity that you focused on, what you've been focusing on and telling yourself and building up those new beliefs about your relationship, your reality, your job, whatever it may be. People in your life will start to reflect it back to you as well. Something I always see whenever I start to ramp up and be consistent with self-concept work, I get tons of YouTube comments about it, complimenting me. If I'm wearing makeup, then it makes sense that people would write nice comments. But I've noticed when I work on self-concept, people will literally mirror back to me very similar compliments, statements. My friends will randomly out of the blue say really nice things, like beyond, just like, oh, I like that cute top, they will like really compliment me. So I noticed that my self-concept reflects powerfully. And that's one example where people in your life, they will just, in whatever way could naturally happen, reflect back to you that new story. So now just a quick little extra bonus for anyone who likes the religious approach, who has faith. Scripture has a really wonderful statement that really embodies everything that I've been focusing on this video. I'll read it from my notes so I don't mess it up. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So basically, whatever you focus on in your heart, whatever your focus is, wherever your faith and belief is, in God, in being able to have this happy, positive life, because that's what ties into this manifestation topic. The end result specifically that you want is obviously something positive that would make you feel happy, fulfilled. It's just a good addition to your life. When you focus on that, when you have faith in that, that's what you are. That's simply what is. Where your focus is in your heart, when it comes to the subconscious reprogramming, that's where the focus will go. And it just becomes your new reality. So we're not forcing anything. You're not forcing an outcome or playing God, obviously. You're simply shifting the negative parts of your reality that you no longer want to experience by shifting your mindset habits, the way you think, changing those negative beliefs around. And this new identity, this new story is already in existence. God knows what is for your highest good. God already has created, this identity that he knows you're capable of experiencing and having in life. So you're just accepting it. You're just focusing on it, embodying it, and becoming it. And finally, the quick auto rewriting technique, a little bonus addition to really show you guys how to implement this. It could be like 30 seconds, a minute. It's just a really quick kind of instant shift. So notice that you've had that old story thought, the negative thought. Don't argue with it, just recognize it, have the self-awareness, and replace it instantly with the new story. What's your new identity? That's the version you want to focus on. Just try and immediately snap into that new version. And then in that moment, maybe just repeat it a couple times robotically. You just need to say and focus on, verbally in your mind, whatever, focus on that new story, focus on that affirmation. And that is going to train your subconscious mind to start responding that way, to automatically start to think from that new story. It builds up more and more the more you do this. So I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed that, found it useful. If you did, please do thumbs up, turn on that notification bell, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you next time.